All right, good afternoon and welcome back to the 5-digit United States Cup Major League. We are back already. It has been 15 minutes and we are just pounding these matches out one after another. Virginia versus Florida is where we are here, and I don't think anyone was expecting this matchup of all matchups to happen in this half of the bracket. It is me once again, back. I'm Bless KM. Joining me is Ika to start things off, and I believe we might have iFlame joining us in a little bit. Just going to be holding out as he has to sort some things out. Yeah, good afternoon. How are we doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. The last match was an absolute heater. I'm really looking forward to see if this one is going to be similar. And based on the rosters that we have for both of these teams, I think even if Indiana moved on, this would be just as evenly matched. If not maybe a little Virginia-sided just because of Florida's scheduling issues, with them like missing a player for most of last match, or for all of last match rather, and probably going to be doing the same for this one. So I imagine that Virginia is a little bit more confident going into this match, plus having all of the information of the what 13 maps that were played.
13 maps, yeah.
So I'm sure they got a lot of information, and they're just going to rip the Nomad 4 to start this off.
And making quick use of that information. No Pora 4, meaning no tech. You know, Pora 4 was such an important performer for Florida in last round's Nomad 4 tech pick. You know, putting up basically double FCs, just basically barely faltering at the last minute on his second run. But yeah, basically double 900Ks out of him, and with him not being present for this match, we did see Florida first pick it against Indiana just earlier in order for it to get the point broken against them. So Virginia seeing that and looking to replicate the success that Indiana had earlier. We will.
Yeah. Do you imagine that Florida picking that into Indiana and having such a stark difference to what they were expecting in match? They probably have some pretty good team scores on sheet, right? You can imagine so if they're picking it first. So
yeah, especially despite the lack of.
Yeah, they're going to heavily improve their team score of last time, which I think they can do, even if they are down that tech player.
Yeah, you do need a certain amount of confidence in order to first pick a map.
Yeah, for sure. Filling out the lobby here. Look like Dan for Danny probably is the best coming in for Virginia. I imagine Sidetrack there, Debbie's going to be the last one. Yep, the mainstream tech player for Virginia. And as for Florida's final player, I'm not sure. I do believe we saw Vona and FireGen last time. So last player could see Mikey M filling for this, but we will have to see. I will be taking my leave. iFlame is going to be doing the rest of the commentary alongside Bless, so enjoy the match, everyone, and I'll see you around. Take care. Good luck with the cast, guys.
All right, have a good day. Have a good day, Ika.
Hello. Later, biz.
Good afternoon to my all of a sudden close friend iFlame. Thank you for joining me again. It's so good to be back with you, man.
It certainly is. I've been moving all day, but happy to get a nice break from unpacking to commentate some 5WC or some 5USC, I should say. Wrong tournament.
A little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit. Florida, Virginia, both in the losers bracket, and Virginia seems to be doing pretty well despite their seeding. They just took out the 4th seed, which is NorCal A, but I believe this tournament does it. It's just based off rank, so qualifying seeding can be a little bit misleading.
Or there's a qualifiers.
Oh,
there is a qualifiers here. Yeah,
that's
so
just a big
NorCal
upset
A.
then.
Yeah, it is a pretty big upset. NorCal for the first time ever finishing outside of the top 6. And the first time they did not make it to the final stage. In all of 5USC history, usually a big mainstay up there. But now we're going to have a new face up there, as for the first time, one of these teams will be making it to the ending stages of this tournament, the last stage. And neither of these teams have ever made it to finals. But today will be the first for one of them, as we are already getting right underway into this Nomad 4. Give me Fesco to find the early drop. I do believe that is a roster swap for them. Earlier they did have 09 Randy Orton, that is Equivocator, in. Instead, it's going to be FireGen to fall off the early break and early advantage to Virginia now.
Yeah, very good start for them. Still holding those 3 full combos. It's only Vona holding on the side of Florida. So now all they can do is wait. Feels Dust does find the first miss for the side of Virginia. And Fesco, sorry, immediately trades it back. Thinking of the soft drink. That one's pretty good though.
That is pretty good, yeah.
But it's going to be 250,000 points now for Virginia. We're already halfway through the map, so it's going to be a pretty big deficit to make up. It's going to need to be really both of those FCs dropping probably within the next 15 to 20 seconds, and both Vona and Fire need to hold. So we'll see next what happens as we go into this next VI.
There goes FireGen, though. Gonna be trade out with Pyre's Recovery, but that's not the trade you need for Florida, as Deppy and Dan Cordani still holding on. There are some more tough aim control patterns in this back 1/3, but that's looking more like the back 1/4. Although there goes Deppy, and it's a double break with Dan Cordani as well on the jumps. So Vona alone into the ending on the FC. 300,000 score is a lot, however, especially to take back alone at this point in the map, as Bancho doing more Bancho things this morning.
Yeah, I mean, it could be close. I mean, 550,000 points with that accuracy. There's a max score of 900,000, but so there is potential there. Unfortunately, you know, your opponents are still gaining score throughout the map, and looks like as we load back in, that did not get any closer. Oh no, it's because
Vona's not
they
loaded
left
in.
the lobby. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, regardless, I don't. Well, did Vona get 880,000 points? Unlikely.
It's pretty unlikely. I will open up the stream chat again to grab the MP and check up on that situation. Here it is. And it looks like Vona's score did not submit in the lobby. You might have to take a minute to figure out what's going
Yeah,
on.
we'll have to see if Fona has proof of that score. You know, if Fona got more than 860,000 and has a screenshot of the score that's saved, then Florida could have gotten the point, but could be a big ask. I mean, given that Vona crashed potentially, maybe it wasn't able to play the rest of the map, so does seem very likely this point is going to Virginia, as Vona didn't get to play the rest of the map. That you hate to see, because Vona was making that map look simple. Yeah, the potential for the FC was there. I'm very curious to know what the local scores are for Vona in practice.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely more than capable of putting up some incredible scores on the tech, and the more slidery and gimmicky it gets, the better for him as well. And this is probably the most gimmicky No 1-4 we've had in this tournament so far. So, quite unfortunate. Also, 880k, 884,000 was the difference. Definitely very doable if he manages to FC the rest of the map with pretty decent accuracy. But unfortunately, we will not get to know, even Vona himself will not get to know how that play would have turned out, as Virginia, I mean, this is minor league. I don't know if, despite that, if that would be allowed. And yeah, of course, Deppy the captain not going to be agreeing to a replay of that map, as Virginia will take their first point rather comfortably.
This is Major League also. These are the 8 teams.
Yeah, of course, this is Major League dispatched. I don't know why I'm thinking minor league here. Just move out of it for the moment, I guess.
Not to worry. So, okay, so from Florida, we've got a Hard Rock 3 ban, and we have a DT4 ban. And so, what are we looking at in terms of picks? I mean, I wasn't expecting to be on this match, so I don't know these teams too well, admittedly. But you might know them a little bit better. Okay, looks like we've got a Hidden 3 pick coming through.
Yeah, so last match we saw Florida pivot into more of this mechanics and tapping team. Their opponents being Indiana, having JT Cantwell. It's the really sole mechanics star. The other players being the other Bubble and Unique. You might be familiar with them from USC. So yeah, Unique in particular being the one new player on the squad, and JT not having a lot of support for the Hard Rock and other mechanics did mean that it was actually Indiana who was the gimmick team in that matchup, and Florida pivoting to the mechanics. But their mainstay is their main home really is in these gimmicks, especially with Vona 8 Sandwich playing towards his strengths and the various support players that he should have. Although not seeing him in the lobby at the moment, did have a 1xSB FC choke previously when he played this earlier today, and we will see him back in the lobby. As for Virginia, probably going to be more of a mechanics-leaning team. That is what they saw a lot of success on when they took out NorCal. Of course, Alex the JPEG in particular, putting up some incredible Hard Rock scores. Every single map he came in for on the Hard Rock, just insane work. Map after map, and of course having plenty of support, not just on the tapping from Gray, but also on the Hard Rock, and of course more tapping from Deppy, his username being sidetracked today on Osu. Of course, what else would he be good at other than tapping?
Yeah,
To see.
and yeah, we did see Kona pop off before the disconnect on the last map, so definitely going to be one of the players to watch. And then this is also kind of a bit of a tech pick, a little bit more flowy, of course, this time around. But we see the good lucks in the chat. We should be getting into this one at any moment. It is a pretty short one as well, so these early misses are going to be relevant here.
Yeah, there is a little bit of an intro. We have seen players miss on the intro section. Quite unfortunately, you really don't want to miss. It is some relatively free combo. You know, you can see some from some of the padding already. Might be a little bit tricky, but these players really should be more than enough to handle it. As I say that, there goes Dan Cordani on first. Vertical burst of the map, and Deppy to follow right behind him.
Yeah, not off to the best start for Virginia, but this is the Florida pick, so you do expect Florida to look strong. Avona struggling a little bit with the accuracy, down at 92. I mean, is being matched by Danny at 91, but Florida has a pretty massive accuracy advantage right now with those two 97s. And when the accuracy gap is that big, it makes a pretty huge difference, because those, you know, assuming all players FC with their current accuracies, that those scores are worth a good 100, 150k less points. But we see a ton of breaks on that pattern. Actually, it's just going to be Pi. A couple of those were Boncho. So Florida solid under 3 FCs. There goes Randy, but Sidetrack Day finds the miss, and that is all combos gone from Virginia now. Vona and FireGen have a chance to run away with this one as we approach the 1/3 point of this map.
Yeah, I will say Vona, despite looking a little bit less comfortable on the accuracy this time, looked so incredibly comfortable on just the general mechanics and holding his combo through this first half of the map, and he will look to do so again. A repeat star performance is what we're looking at the moment, is comfortably into the back half of the map, and this time with the teammate to boot. FireGen also holding on incredibly well. It's going to be a little bit of a slow section, but this map should definitely be looking very comfortable for Florida at the moment. 350k in the hole already. Virginia does have some recoveries building up, and they will continue to build in the slow section. Going to be looking at Dan Cordani to really make something happen in this back half, as he's supposed to be one of their main hidden players, but at the moment, Vona and FireGen just not giving him an inch to work with.
Ooh, FireGen does find the miss. Now just Vona holding strong. Some big recoveries on the side of Virginia. If we see a miss from Randy, that's still hard to come back, but it's going to be Danny who finds the miss instead in Virginia. Quickly running out of time, down by 400,000 points. It looks like they just don't have enough gas in the tank, as Vona, very impressive score to get Florida a point on the board.
Yeah, and he did break on the build-up section last time, breaking on nothing really, but this time he will hold into the ending. Just a couple more bursts to close things out, some decel patterns here, and it does look like he will hold and close out the FC this time. Incredible work from Vona.
Yeah, what could have been on that last map, but how it goes sometimes, of course, Virginia, they have the next pick, and they've just lost the hidden tech pick by a pretty decent margin. They very, very nearly lost the no mod 4 tech pick. So I'm thinking we see Virginia kind of opt for something non-tech as their next pick. You know, I think it's time to switch things up a little bit.
I do think the No Mod 4 was sort of a one-off call, trying to call out Florida's lack of core 4 and the score that they just dropped on the previous match. But we should see them shortly pivot into something like the tapping, something like the Hard Rock aim, the Hard Rock 1, of course. Alex JPEG putting up 800k on that on that map yesterday to take down NorCal.
Yeah, in that case, we may see them go right back to mechanics. And what's nice about the mechanics is there are a fair few aim maps in the pool. You know, pretty much every mod category has an aim-focused map, and so if you're a strong mechanics team, you've got a lot of picks to choose from. We'll see if they do go for that HR map, as you suggested. Do they ever go for, you know, just bra tapping instead? Are they that kind of team?
Yeah, I mean, they do have Deppy Sidetrack Day himself. The map, yes. They have the map Sidetrack Day on their team. They also have, I mean, we actually saw Alex the JPEG put up a really good score on the Force Mod 1 yesterday. 850k it was on a Hard Rock
Wow.
FC choke, 95 AC. And Gray was their third man fill. It's just gonna be a Hard Rock 1 leaning on Alex after a stellar performance last night. 882k actually it was an FC choke. And the highest score in the lobby by far back then.
Yeah, this one, of course, going to be a bit more of a consistency test than our previous map. You don't generally expect to see such low accuracies on a map like this one. It looks like we are going to be seeing Steved in for Virginia. Florida presumably going to be sticking with a similar roster. I don't know if you take Gavona out after those last two maps.
Yeah, I mean, normally, I mean, the BPM is definitely well within his playground, and he did put up a really impressive combo just earlier, 720 against Indiana, and that was actually Indiana's pick. So managing to find a breakpoint there. Supporting score is a little bit worse for FireGen at just under 400k and Fesco at just under 300k last map. So we might see some players get swapped out. It does look like Randy Orton, also known as Equivocator, going to be stepping in for Fesco, replacing the lowest score previously. And I'm actually a little bit surprised to see Steve in the lobby. Gray is no surprise for me, but they did have Pi as the best last time, dropping almost 500k. And Steve, I mean, yes, he was... He's pretty good at precision. Not exactly the most hard rock pilled of players, although he wasn't really feeling so great in the match yesterday, only playing 2 maps and dropping a bit of a stinker on the Flex 1 before coming back later to put up a pretty solid score on the No Mob 3. It was. We'll see if he's feeling a little bit better today, and maybe that's why he is stepping in over Pi as the best.
Yeah, likely very feelings dependent, day-to-day kind of thing. If you have two players with very similar scores on the map, you do a couple runs, an hour before your match, see who's putting up the better scores and throw them in for the match. So we'll have to see what Steve can do. Does drop a little bit of accuracy on the first few notes, but should recover pretty comfortably as we've got a bit of free build-up, some free combo to get these players settled into the map before we get into some of that awkward aim.
Yeah, this is a pretty calm intro. Gonna see Equivocator finding strange early miss there, unfortunately. You really want to hold combo here, as this is just the easiest part of the map by far. About 300, just under 400 combo to farm here. And then the rest of the map, it really just does not let up for the entire time. 4 minutes and 40 seconds of 190 BPM, CS 5.1 hard rock. Awkward aim consistency, and yeah, even though the song will slow down a little bit at times, the map really does not. And there goes Vona finding a second early miss on the side of Florida.
Yeah, I mean, it is early on in the map, but that will give a pretty decent lead over to Virginia, especially because this is an easier section. It is a fair bit of free combo. It's pretty much a free 30,000 point lead, but we should be getting into some of that awkward aim any moment now. There we go. These are the harder patterns, so Florida need to build up these recoveries. Randy back up to 250 combo is a good sign, but they still got some ground to make up, and Virginia still holding 3 full combos. Good accuracy as well. Gray is going to find the first miss for Virginia, traded back by Vona, but Vona had already missed, so that's going to be a fantastic trade for Florida. They're going to start to bring this one back, although especially with that miss from Steve. Now Randy trades it back. It's going to be FireGen versus Alex, 1FC on either side, so this score lead should stay pretty much as is. Randy finds to get another miss. There goes FireGen, last FC down for Florida. Alex has a chance to really run away with this map.
Yeah, and FireGen did already improve on his best combo from earlier today, capping out at 441 for just under 400,000 score. It does look like he will be able to surpass that, but Alex the JPEG, if there is one man on Virginia's team you want to be on the FC, it is this man. Just incredible performance, insane hard rock aim, and he's just showing it off to us again and again and again. An FC choke yesterday, although not going to be quite there today. It looks like falling short. A bit of a miss aim around 2/3 of the way through the map, but that is already 160,000 score in favor of Virginia. And looking at the remaining combos in the map, there is Steve and Vona on a couple small recoveries, but not a lot else going on.
Yeah, with how long the map is, those combos are not going to be nearly enough. You know, maybe if we see a miss from Steve, but Randy continues to find chain misses on this ending. Virginia are back to the recoveries. Steve does find the miss, but 150,000 points is a lot to make up on a map like this one. Florida didn't have to be flawless the rest of the map. We do see more misses from Gray, but Bona just has no help at the moment. The only one holding any combo, and I mean the score bar is going back over, but so slowly. And without a complete knockdown from Virginia, Bona is just going to be running out of time.
Yeah, I mean, this is where Vona did make the comeback happen against Indiana earlier today. It's already under 100,000. There's a lot of combo, more misses coming out from Virginia. Hold on a second here. Oh no, and there's the miss, and unfortunately not quite enough to bring things back. The score will rest at 73k in favor of Virginia. And despite a little bit of a weaker performance from Alex here today, it's still more than enough to take the point home against Florida.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that point is all that matters. Pick working out very well for them. Vona nearly brought it back at the end, but couldn't hold on through that last aim pattern. Florida, they're going to have the next pick, and I mean, it is still early on, so they're going to have a lot of options. They've had some really good showings on a lot of these tech picks. You know, the No Mod 4 that didn't work out, as well as the Hidden 3. Could certainly see them sticking with the hidden pool, especially given how close the Hard Rock aim was. Maybe you're feeling slightly more comfortable on something like a hitting game. Are there any more reading maps left in the pool? There is
So we
the...
have Force Mod 2.
Yeah, okay, that could be a good shout for them then.
Yeah. So I think you were about to say the Flex 1. That is also a little bit of a structural rhythm reading. Some CS5 AR9 overlaps mapped by Daramak. Of course, the Force Mod 2 as well. In X-Core's custom, and of course when you have X-Core's Vocaloid custom in anti-mod, you know exactly what kind of map you're in for. Lots of overlaps there. Well, despite that, we have seen some players take easy on that so far, and even an easy hidden. And it does look like it will be a Force Mod 2 here.
Yeah, kind of as expected. They're going for anything low AR. I mean, the Virginia bands very much telegraphing what skill sets they don't want to play, and so Florida is going to be taking full advantage. Now, this one is a Force Mod 2. Is this an easy Force Mod? That's what I'm seeing from the comments, or is that just the...
Some players have taken the easy mod on this. It's pretty rough in terms of the overlap reading. Even on AR10, we've seen Hard Rock players take the hidden Hard Rock comfort just for the decreased density, despite it already being so low on density at AR10 CS6.5.
Yeah, if you have practiced it though, 2.1 is a pretty big multiplier. Having that be, better than the no mod is a pretty big opportunity. So that could potentially encourage a couple players to try out the easy, but I don't know if either of these teams have easy players. We're going to see Mikey in, I believe, for the first time in this match, and I'm going to say that just jumped out of the lobby. Fesco going to be back in. It seems like Steve and Gray are going to be the duo for Virginia.
Yep, Steve likely just on the hidden and Gray for the Hard Rock. And of course, who else for Florida to close out the roster other than Vona?
Yeah, Vona's been playing so well all match long. I mean, 3 very good scores in 3 maps, and expect that to continue throughout the match.
Yep. Note about the last match that Florida played this one, and it was picked quite late. It was a little bit of a specialty pick, seeing an easy player, seeing an easy mod on one of the players from Indiana, but Vona pulling out the FC choke, a 950k on the hidden to carry his team to victory. Actually, I think, no, excuse me, that is incorrect. The easy mod actually, the multiplier working out And so despite Vona's 950k was not enough to bring the point home for his team, some struggles on Mikey M and FireGen, and it does look like we'll be swapping out Mikey M for this one, as Florida missing a player as we load into the map.
Yeah, looks like they left lobby by accident right before it started.
Yeah.
We do have FireGen back in now, so we should be able to abort, get that started. I'm guessing FireGen just pressed escape by accident and
Yeah, most
accidentally left the
likely.
lobby.
Yeah. As
Yeah,
for
happens to everyone.
Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen it a few times here and there. Looking for Virginia's score on this map. They did lose out to NorCal, even without the easy multiplier coming into play. Just a couple 300Ks from Pies the Best and Alex's JPEG, and then Danko Danny on almost a 600K. It does look like they'll be swapping him out for Steve, interestingly enough, swapping out the highest performer. Something you usually see.
Yeah, Steve's still in the lobby.
Yeah.
It should be in for this one. And we are going to see the double hidden hard rock for Virginia. Alex going to be running that hard rock. And it looks like that'll be mirrored on the side of Florida. Hidden definitely seems to be the preferred mod between these two teams. Actually, I hadn't loaded in. It's a hidden hard rock for Pi. It's going to have that added bonus, but that's always a gamble. I feel like I very rarely see the hidden hard rock work out, especially once we get into the later stages, but I will see what Pi can do here. Maybe a comfort hidden player that doesn't like the low AR does find the first miss. Not a good sign for that hidden hard rock. Fesco is going to trade it right back though, so Virginia not going to be too much worse for wear, as we are just going to see two hiddens versus a hidden hard rock battling it out.
Yeah, I mean, you do see on Fesco and Alex's screens right now, even on the Hard Rock, it is quite dense, and we're going to see, as we head into this first KI section, that some of these overlaps and back and forth patterns give me tripping up Fesco already, and yeah, that is sort of why you might want to take the hidden Hard Rock as opposed to just the normal Hard Rock, although Alex, JPEG, and Pi both going to be dropping the combos, and there goes Steve as well. Rona will drop, so it's just FireGen at the moment with any sort of combo, and this score is still incredibly close, but we should see it start to widen as FireGen continues to hold on.
Yeah, I mean, rough accuracy on Fesco is going to make things take a little bit of time for Florida to actually pull ahead with this score, but as long as FireGen is holding that full combo, they are going to be pulling ahead pretty quickly, and we get a refresh. This Boncho is not having a good time, I guess, and we're going to assume, there's some misses, there's some combos, circles are being clicked, things are happening. Fesco playing solo now, because Fesco is too cool for everybody else in the lobby.
And it does look like we'll be there for a little bit, waiting for him to catch up. Another refresh to get us up to speed. And yeah, there we go. It does look like FireGen did hold on to his combo. Vona on a nice recovery, but the entirety of Virginia as well on theirs. And with that miss from Fesco, this 100k or so score lead, it's actually going to be holding still thanks to FireGen's ginormous combo. And there goes Pi as well.
Yeah, I mean, it could still go back. The combos are high. 120,000 points pretty quick, but there goes Steve. That is a miss you could not afford. Yes, FireGen does trade, but Vona is there matching Alex. Vona finds the miss. That score is going to start to go back over as Alex has up to a 600 combo now. It's dropping so quickly as Fesco is just finding chain miss after chain miss. Is Alex going to have the time? I think he will. Just has to hold on through the ending.
Yeah, 20k, there it is. 10k, just needs a few more notes. It's holding the spinner, and it does flip right at the end. And there we go. So, really, by the skin of their teeth there, Alex with a nice score. Going to barely be able to take things back over for his team, and that's actually a break point. Florida, Fona not quite able to replicate, and Fesco dropping a bit of a stinker there at 250k. And it will cost them the even footing in this match as Virginia take one step ahead.
Yeah, I mean, definitely feels like Fesco is kind of just there to tank the Hard Rock on that map. Doesn't feel like Florida, had a comfortable Hard Rock player. They just felt good that their two hidden players could carry and just needed someone as a third, but it doesn't pay off for them. It's going to be an early breakpoint in Virginia. Early on, they've still got a lot of very reasonable picks left in the pool, so we'll see if they can consolidate here. They're sticking right with the Force mod. It's going to be Force mod 1. Exile of the Floating World, 225 BPM, 4 minutes in length.
Yep. This is the stamina tapping strain pick of the pool, although we do say stamina and tapping strain. These bursts are not really the longest of bursts for the most part. Of course, that is compensated by the Force mod having to take either the hidden for the increased reading difficulty on some of the flow, or the hard rock for the increased tapping difficulty everywhere. But there's only really a couple streams that go beyond 16 notes. One to two in each of the key eyes that go to just 25. So even then, it's not super long. Now, it still can catch you out with on hard rock with the decreased timing window, and of course a little bit of increased spacing from the smaller circles, a little bit less leniency on how loose you can be with the flowing there. But still, despite all of that, I would call this one of the easier maps in the pool.
Yeah, definitely going to come down to that consistency, and this does feel like a map that suits Virginia incredibly well. It seems like they're all out of the lobby, probably practicing the map quickly before the timer runs down, as Randy is going to be the last player in for Florida. And now we're just waiting for the last two. I mean, very fitting that Sidetrack Day is playing the stamina map. I would expect nothing less.
Yeah, I mean, he did FC it with hard rock with 98 accuracy last night.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and Alex the JPEG not too far behind him, 850k at a 95% hard rock choke. Gray forced to take the hidden as the tapping specialist, unfortunately did not have someone else to take the hidden mod for him, so struggling a little bit more down at 500k. But you look at the difference in team scores, they had 2.4 million last night, and Florida, a little bit worse for wear, 1.9 million, just under 2 million team score. Vona did have the hidden FC, but Randy Orton on the hard rock struggling a little bit, just under 700k, and Fesco struggling a lot on the hidden, 91 accuracy, 350k for him. Fortunately, he will have someone step in for him to take his place, as Mikey M, of course, coming in again, or actually, coming in Freckly alongside Equivocator, going to be taking the place of Fesco, as Equivocator this time opting for the hidden mod, switching it up from the hard rock mod just a couple hours earlier.
Yeah, I think that's
just be the same mod for Virginia.
Yeah, and I think that's the right thing to do if you're Florida. If the score difference is 500,000 points, that's a pretty big gap to make up just off of a low roll from the other team. It has to be like a, max low roll from Virginia and max high roll from Florida. So they are switching it up, seeing if they can get Randy to put up a strong score on the hidden, and now have Mikey to, well, I say tank the hard rock, but it is looking very comfortable so far, as it has just been that early miss right at the start from Sidetrack Day, and otherwise everybody looking relatively comfortable. Accuracy is looking pretty low on Vona, only at 93%. Is going to give Virginia a slight lead for the time being, despite the accuracy, the combo deficit, sorry. But, the start of the map is when all the players are feeling good about their stamina. It's really the second half of the map we're going to start to see a lot more accuracy drops, a lot more combo breaks, and so important to get whatever advantage you can in the first half.
Yeah, and here we go into the first key eye. Going to be seeing some of those longer streams. There it was, the first 25-noter into some 13 and 16 notes, and then another 25-noter to come up here. The spacing a little bit bigger, especially for the hard rock players, but everyone holding on. All of the combos in the lobby hold through. And I do want to take a moment to talk about Mikey M for a second. He is normally supposed to be the tapping specialist for Florida, and no surprise to see him in on the hard rock here. I was surprised to see him not in the lobby earlier, but of course Florida did have some scheduling issues trying to get both of their lower bracket matches to happen on the weekend. And so it could just be a thing where he wasn't quite warm in their first match, but now that he has had some time to sit at the computer and just play the game, that could just be making the difference for him. I do see him quite nicely holding on to 96 accuracy. He did even have 98 before. We are in a little bit of a slower section as we wait for these combos to build up, and it's still a stalemate. Just the accuracy making up for the tiny combo deficit on Debbie Sidetrack Dave at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the map only gets harder towards the end as we get into some of these faster bursts. The next miss is going to decide everything, assuming that's not traded back. And Bonus did a good job of recovering the accuracy to drop back to 90, but finding their way back up on this slower section. But it is neck and neck right now. Still just the very early miss from Sidetrack Day, and otherwise, these players have been pretty much perfect. Now into the 1/3, everybody getting through those without too much trouble. With a quarter of the map to go, it is still Virginia with a 40,000 point lead, pretty much just off of accuracy. Randy with a very impressive 99, doing their best to make up that difference, but this is all going to come down to the ending streams. If nobody misses, of course, accuracy will be a big decider, and one big chain miss could make the difference, but there are still some tricky streams yet to come. Everybody still looking good. Here we go into some of these really tough streams. Mikey is going to be the first to miss. Nobody on Virginia trading that one back. The score lead is going to skyrocket over towards Virginia. And without that miss traded, Sidetrack Day does miss as well, but the damage has been done. There needs to be a second miss from Virginia for Florida to bring this one back, but it's just not happening. Alex and Gray have been so solid. Accuracy is incredibly strong. Gray does drop quite a few 100s, but holds on to the combo. That's all that matters at the end of the day, and it looks like Virginia should have just enough in the tank to hold on to this lead.
Yep, it's going to be Deppy bookending his play there, what would be an FC with a couple slider breaks, but Mikey M, fortunately for Florida, finding the break right at the finish line. And despite Randy Orton putting up 99% FC on the hidden and some lower accuracies from Virginia, it's Vona struggling down at 93. I do think that made up basically the entire score difference. 3% lower accuracy. Actually made up around half of the score difference. Did have a 96 flat earlier for 925k, so missing around 50k score on his part from the accuracy alone. And fortunately for Florida, giving up another point.
Yeah, I mean, matching Gray's accuracy would have got Florida the point even with that miss, but they're going to go for a very quick no mod 3 pick. You know, this was not necessarily an expected win for them, as it was indeed Virginia's pick. So yes, they're down by 3, but they are only down by 1 break point, so it can be a bit of a misleading score advantage. And I assume this is going to be your swing tech style no mod 3, 200 BPM, and another long one for us, plus.
Yeah, there's a good amount of long maps in this pool, and a lot longer than the previous pools we've had. This round is quite long. Not just in the maps, but also going to best of 13 for the semifinals, up from best of 11 on the previous round. This is going to be swing, as you predicted. It's also a little bit aim heavy on the snap aim, 150 BPM snaps, as well as one little funny combo in the back half of the map near the solo. Other than that, I wouldn't necessarily call it super techy, although there are a couple fast sliders with some kind of mean slider points that are actually at the end of the sliders, thanks to, I think, some just slider tick shenanigans with how that interacts with swing rhythm and 1/3 snaps. But yeah, scoreline reading 4-1, and we've seen a lot of 4-1s in recent history, haven't we, iFlame?
We certainly have.
Talk about deceptive scorelines, you know.
4-1, the most dangerous lead in OSU. And I mean, it is kind of a must-win though at this point for Florida. You know, 1 break point, especially when it's best of 13, is not the end of the world, especially as you get later into the match and the picks get more difficult. But you give up 2 break points, Virginia can get to match pick on their own, and then Virginia will just have so much momentum. So that's going to be a big one for Florida as we get into no mod 3. Looks like Steve coming back in for Virginia and FireChen on the side of Florida.
Yeah, this is just the exact same roster that Virginia used last night against NorCal, getting a triple 500k for 1.5 million team score. As for Florida, it's going to be FireGen, Vona, and Equivocator, which is also the same roster they used earlier against Indiana, so not feeling any need for changes there. They did manage to post a 1.85 million team score earlier today, so quite good odds. I do see why they picked this map, and this map is pretty consistent in how it plays. You know, you have these swing, snap, ult patterns, along with some slider jumps for the most part, and it is pretty calm all the way through until that solo section in the back half. Saw a lot of 1K combos and just a couple unfortunate misses in the middle, really deciding the map.
And given that Virginia played so many maps, I mean, Florida played even more, Florida is going to be picking this with full knowledge of that Virginia score, and you would expect they feel pretty confident that they can top that 1.5 million score. Again, this is going to be a much more of a consistency test, so you do expect to see relatively high combos, especially early on in the map. As I say that, Randy is going to find the miss, along with that earlier miss from Vona. It's going to put Florida on the back foot as Sidetrack Day trades that right back. That is going to even the playing field, and now two big combos on both sides, and it's pretty much a reset.
Yeah, you know, we saw in both matches a couple early breaks just deciding this map entirely, and everyone just collapsing at the end in the solo section, either with the funny pattern or just a little bit after. And this actually looks like Sidetrack Day was a Bancho miss.
Yeah.
And so still advantage Virginia as they hold on to that one combo lead. You know, earlier today it was Super Alf breaking it around the 800 combo mark to give Florida the point, and last night it was Enmil dropping at around 400 combo to give Virginia the point. This time, Randy Orton, the one to falter first, the one to blink first, and this could just be all that Virginia need to take this point home. Into the start of the solo section, this part is still quite calm. There's going to be a little bit of a 1-2 section coming up, just a quick switch back to some straight rhythm. Then after that, there is the pattern.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of time left in this map. As long as Florida have these two big combos, they are always going to be in it right up until the last second. They just need a couple of these combos to drop, and they have a chance to bring this one back. It is all going to come down to that pattern. You mentioned it claims two, but it's one on either side. That's not what Florida needed. There's another one. That's going to claim two on the side of Florida. It is going to be one FC still holding for Sidetrack Day, and Randy only half the combo, not going to be able to match Sidetrack Day. We'll see if he can close it out. Thing is now, even if Sidetrack Day does find the miss, the recovery combo is just not there for Florida. It's going to take a ton of chain misses to bring this one back.
Yeah, I mean, the highest combo we did see so far, I believe, is that FireGen 1300 earlier today, and there goes Sidetrack Day right around the point where he missed. But there's just not a lot of map left. 100k score to pull back for Equivocator, but he does have a lot of combo, yeah. That score bar is going, but there he goes on the missed aim. And a big chain miss will rub some more salt into the wound, as I do believe that is just another break point for Virginia. Vona does have a little bit of combo into the ending, but the score lead will not go over fast enough. 55k is where it will sit at the end of the map, and Virginia 2 break point advantage now as they go up 5-1.
Yeah, should have just spun the 55k. How hard could it be?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I mean, Virginia, of course, in a very good spot now. They're up by 4, only 2 points to go, and they have the next pick as well. Momentum really going, and it really kind of can wear on your mental when the picks are so close. You know, you're right there losing points by 20,000, 20,000, 70,000, and you know if you'd found one less miss during the map, you could have taken that point, and so that can be certainly tough. And we'll need to see Florida, restabilize if they want any chance at coming back, because although they are down, they are far from out of it. Still plenty of maps to be played.
I will say that the difficult thing here is how do you continue to pick as Florida? Obviously, it is still Virginia's pick at the moment, but assuming they take their next pick, that will put them at match point, and Florida not a lot of room to work with here, you know, losing, or they did find a hidden 3, but that is their only point so far. And the rest of the reading maps banned out by Virginia, both the easy 1 and hidden 2 gone. There is the flex 1, but they do see Virginia's score on it. 750k for Danny, 650k for Deppy, and surely Steve will improve on his sub 300 stinker from last night.
Yeah, we're going to be getting DT3, so Virginia going right back to tapping makes a lot of sense after that Force Mod 1 that looked incredibly good for Virginia. This one, of course, going to be a whole lot faster, 261 BPM, and only 2 minutes in length, so a little bit less trying on the stamina, but your speed has to be up to par.
Yeah, and you say it is a little less trying on your stamina. This is pretty...
It's this
9-note burst.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I take it back.
It will drain your wrist tension, assuming you are one of those players who play speed by doing some tension control on your wrists. You can get tired out pretty quickly, you know, especially with some back-to-back 9-note bursts in the middle part of the map.
Yeah, no, my brain thought process of this was the Rubik's Cube. That is a very stamina-intensive map indeed, so I have to imagine we're going to get pretty similar rosters as we did in the Force Mod 1, as Mikey and Fesco are going to make their returns to the lobby, Pi back in as well. Of course, no mods required for this one. Should make things a little bit comfortable for most of the lobby, but we should be getting into Rubik's Cube any moment now.
Yeah, Mikey, I'm gonna be happy. I think especially Fesco gonna be happy about the fact that he doesn't have to take hidden on this one. You know, hundreds of times earlier today. Unfortunately, Mikey M is warmed up, so expecting a good score from them. We do have, I believe, this is a little bit of a switch up. No, I do think this is the roster that Virginia used against NorCal as well. Alex JPEG not quite able to keep up with this BPM, despite being good on the other mechanics, including the Force Mod 1. So instead, it's going to be Pi is the best, stepping in to cover. We did see a FC from Gray on this last night, and Pi with a really solid 700k as well. Deppy also 700k on this map. Florida did have this banned into them by Indiana, but I will say that is much more of a comfort ban from Indiana and saying we can't play this map rather than a respect ban towards any of the Florida players. Just a little bit BPM capped there over in Indiana, but here we go. All these players should be more than comfortable on the map. As I see that, we kick things off with a couple of misses.
Yeah, not necessarily looking as comfortable as you would hope. I mean, sidetrack day, can't tell if that was a Bancho miss or if they just missed in the first, like, 3 combo, but it's going to be right back up there. But yeah, Fresco and Mikey M are showing the full combos as Gray finds yet another miss. It is going to be traded by Randy, but the accuracy is all 93% for Florida. A little bit more variety on the side of Virginia. It's going to be sidetrack day on 92, but really good accuracies from both Gray and Pi should give Virginia the edge for the time being. We've seen these maps come down to the accuracy a couple times already in this match, and it's bitten Florida a few times. We'll see if they can play the combo game and get a breakpoint back here. It's only 40,000 points, especially with how dense the combo is in this map. It's very comebackable, especially with a miss from Sidetrack Day. That's going to be a big one. We're going to see this score shoot over so quickly for Florida, assuming they don't trade that miss.
Yeah.
As we wait for Boncho to, build the suspense a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the hardest part of the map, and unfortunately, it's an abort.
Oh, Florida,
I'm
not too happy about that one.
Yeah, I think that was more than 30 seconds into the map. I mean, we can check the stream of that, and
we were halfway into the map, yeah.
Yeah,
that was a very late abort.
Yeah.
And the reason for the abort is also not clear. Nobody seemed to have disconnected.
They're saying that Vona crashed in some of the staff channels.
I think that was the previous map, where like the very first map. Because the Vona's not even playing this one.
Yeah, at host, because I'm not sure what's going on with this one. And yeah, those messages are from 40 minutes ago. That was from one of the earlier matches. So
yeah, you have to
feel
confused. Yeah, you have to feel for Florida. You lose something like 4 points in a row after getting your first one. especially having lost a couple points by 20,000, and finally you're getting some kind of advantage, and the map gets aborted pretty late. It is very unfortunate for them, so we'll see how they want to. I mean, the only way to resolve it is to replay the map, unfortunately, now that it's been aborted. Florida was nowhere near far enough in the lead to guarantee they would have gotten the point. And honestly, Virginia were still in the lead at the time of the abort, despite just having a miss. So that miss could have been traded back. That was, I mean, yes, good for Florida, but it was not a big advantage for them by any means. So very easily could have gone Virginia's way as well.
Yeah, and we were just about to go into the hardest part of the map with some back-to-back 9-note bursts, and also pretty decent spacing on those bursts as well, so very easy to break in that section. Likely would have seen some breaks there. It looks like there's a little bit of a dispute on the timing of the abort call, as according to the ref, it did come before the 30-second mark, just according to the timestamps, but maybe just some delays thanks to Bancho. And
and Boncho's been really struggling today, so would not be surprised if Boncho is 30 seconds delayed on the client. Pi?
It looks like
is Pi
just
still playing the map? Okay, cool.
That's interesting. Good job, Bancho. Like,
I mean, yeah, great for Pi. Unfortunately, nobody else is playing the map, so it doesn't actually matter, Yes, the local is there. Yes, there's the screenshot,
I mean,
but you're not going to be able to take that score. No, there's no chance. there was only one player playing the map. There's no way you can take that score. I mean, congrats for Pi, but that's going to have to be played back.
Yeah, this is just such a weird situation.
So yeah, Boncho 30 seconds late in the client, leading to it looking like it was still 30 seconds into the map, so we got a very late abort. And then Boncho only aborted 5 players, which left Pi playing the entirety of the map, got the FC. That score is now not going to count, so Boncho, not a fan of 5USC today. Well, let's hope Pi can repeat that score.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to have to. We've seen quite a handful of strong scores on this map. Gray, obviously, with the FC last night, and a couple 700k supporting scores from his teammates. Yet to see Florida play this map, obviously having it banned in their last match, and Festo's internet going out again. What is...
Oh no. And that one's not even Boncho, but the only thing we've done at this point, despite all the issues, is to replay the map. I mean, it really is just the only option. Because we were only halfway into the map, no clear advantages, and so we know Pi has an FC on the map now, so Virginia does have that in their back pocket. We'll see if Pi can do that again. I mean, Florida did still have 3 very good combos at the halfway point, so we'll see what they can do. I mean, maybe they have a chance to improve their accuracies. We didn't see too many early misses the first time around. Sidetrack Day does avoid the miss in the first 5 minutes the first time, and Pi finding that early miss. And that feels a little bad, but it is at the start, so if Pi can FC the rest of the map, it won't be too bad. It is still going to be 3 FCs on Florida, so this time Florida, they find themselves in the lead as they had significantly better accuracies as well. 97 instead of 93s this time around. This is a huge difference for Florida. I don't know what changed in the 30 seconds we were waiting, but looking very good for Florida, up by 67,000 points here. Pi finds yet another miss. Oh no.
Yeah, that abort just got to his head. He is a rookie as well here. First time playing for Virginia A team in the Major League. And you set the FC in the local when you think everyone else is playing as well, and it turns out it just gets overturned, and now you have to do it again, and that's just such a terrible feeling. As Mikey and will eventually trade out. The rest of the combo is still holding in the lobby, but just under 100,000 score for Florida. There still is the back half of the map to play, and Pi is starting to build up a little bit of a recovery, so definitely doable, comebackable, especially with that DT multiplier, and that score is going over really fast. But this back part of the map is actually, I would consider, the easiest part. The score is already down to 20k, 10k. Hold on here.
going over. I mean, there's lots of time left in this map, and unfortunately for Florida, their accuracy has just been tanking. They're both down to 94 now. Meanwhile, Gray is on 97. Sidetrack Dave finds a big miss. That's an FC down. Florida should be able to hold on to this score lead, but somehow it is staying close. Pie's accuracy is so much better. This FC from Vesco is honestly not worth that much. They are going to let it lead, but any misses in the ending could flip that book over instantly. Sidetrack Day, not the miss you need. Dropping a lot of accuracy as well, down to Vesco's accuracy, and 130,000 points is going to be pretty good for Florida. They do get their point in the end. That one's going to feel bad for Pie, but Florida do get their second point on the board, and that is going to be a break point back. So once again, Florida find themselves down by only one break point, and they're still very much in this match.
Yep. Finally finding a break point for themselves off of the back of some wonderful combo game work from both Equivocator and Fesco. Look at that 94 and 91 accuracy on their FCs. And Gray improving on his accuracy from last night. 97 as opposed to the high 96, I believe it was. But unfortunately, Sporting Combos not quite there today. Double 600k instead of the double 700k. And Deppy, funny enough, he did get the When You See It score last night. Today, changing those 7s to 6s on... Or actually, it's Pi who's changing the 7s to 6s and taking it for himself on the numbers,
there
on the
you
digits.
Go. Yeah, Gray says we should just take Pie's score. Yeah, that would be nice, but
yeah,
unfortunately, it's just not what the rules say, and so Virginia do have a pretty solid advantage for themselves, as we are going to get the Flex 1 pick.
Yeah, I do think this is probably just the next most gimmicky map in the pool, and I'm not entirely sure what Florida pick after this, but it is supposed to be a good pick. I guess that maybe, I'm not entirely sure why they didn't pick it earlier, but especially over the Nomad 3. But maybe just trying to open up some more options for themselves with the Nomad 3, trying to secure some more paths to victory.
Yeah,
of course.
So we of course are going to get Vona back in for this one. Haven't seen Vona in a little bit now because we've had so many tapping maps being played. Not quite the kind of style that Vona tends to be in for.
I mean, he was in for the Force Mod 1 earlier, but speed is a little bit too far outside his wheelhouse. 261, a little bit too high of a BPM for him, and we will finally see him back in. For this, alongside Equivocator and FireGen, first time we're seeing Florida play this map. Of course, not picked in their match against Indiana. Instead, it's gonna be... although they do have the information on Virginia scores from last night's early pick against NorCal. Dancor Danny 750k, Sidetrack Day 650k, and Steve looking to improve on his sub 300k score. I do think he will have quite the improvement. Was notably feeling pretty bad last night during the match.
Yeah, we can definitely expect a little bit better of a score from Steve, and it does give you some confidence for Florida knowing that they have that information, but the information is only a quarter of the battle. You still have to not low roll and hope that your opponent didn't low roll on their score. Sometimes you put up a bad score and you see, oh hey, they didn't do very well on the map, we can beat them, and it turns out they just low rolled all their locals and they're actually pretty good on the map. So you can definitely get baited a little bit as well, especially when it's just one match. So we'll see how this one goes. Early on, Steve does find the miss. Accuracy pretty low as well. Florida very strong on the accuracy. I don't just find myself talking about accuracy so much in matches, but it seems like every single map there's like a 5-6% accuracy difference on somebody.
Yeah, and when the accuracy difference is that large, of course, it will have quite the impact on the result. Here comes the big doubles pattern. It's going to be Dancor Danny, the only person to break, and slowly approaching the back half of this map. And there goes Deppy as well. It's a full collapse from Virginia. And those combos will not play out like they did yesterday for Deppy and Danny. Steve likewise struggling all the same today as well. He's going to be feeling down about himself there as Vona and FireGen continue to combo and push the score lead further and further ahead. Randy Orton, the only one to find a miss for Florida here, is, I mean, guys are having even more issues this morning, but My goodness, these are some impressive scores. 99 accuracy almost for 5Gen. That is ridiculous on this map.
Yeah, that is an absurd score. We'll see how long FireGen can keep that up. We do still have a quarter of the map to go, and then, you know, Vona, once again, playing that combo game, doesn't quite have the accuracy, but when your opponents have no FCs, that combo is all you need. 600,000 points, Bless. I think that's pretty safe for Florida.
Yeah.
They should be getting this point on the board. Only question now is, can FireGen close this one out? Nails those back and forth, no problem whatsoever. Does have these wiggle patterns still to come, but FireGen absolutely popping off. What a performance.
Yeah, and this is just by far the biggest score lead we've seen in this entire match. FireGen, what are you
No way.
doing, brother? That is illegal. 950k, 98.5 FC on Daramok Flex 1.
Yeah, that's a disgusting score.
My
Definitely
goodness.
a good pick from Florida. Bring themselves within 2. This is the closest Florida has been to Virginia since the very start of the match when it was tied up 1-1. So Florida clawing their way back, and you know they've won 2 points in a row. This is where you start to get some momentum, start feeling a little bit more confidence, and the picks are getting a little bit harder for Virginia. You expect that they've picked all of their strongest maps already, and so by the time you get to pick number 5 and pick number 6, you're kind of coin flipping on a lot of maps. It's very rare that teams get this far into a match and still have picks that they feel super advantaged on. So, and let's take a look at what is actually left in this pool. You know, there are a couple of no mods available. The hidden pool has still a hidden 1 if they want to go back to the aim, although maybe the hidden scares them off. And then I think they've kind of gone through most of the heavy tapping maps that they've been relying on for their last couple points.
Yeah, we're basically out of tapping here. There is technically the Nomad too, but that being an old Corsair's custom does have a little bit of weird flow. It is much more about the flow control and even some finger control than the tapping. But it looks like we're going to be going into Hard Rock 2. Some precision as they skirt around the other raw aim picks, finding success on the Hard Rock 1, but not going into the DT1 or Nomad 1 yet. And that does mean that they'll only get to pick one of those 2 remaining aim maps, likely just preferring the Hard Rock so Alex the JPEG can have his mod comfort, which I suppose does make some good sense. And I do feel like Virginia actually does have a lot of good picks in the pool. There's so much mechanics in this pool, and they are the mechanics team in this matchup. So just continuing to play towards their strengths, especially that big strength of Alex. But one last note before we move on. That was the biggest score lead of the entire match, including the Nomad 4, where Vona's score doesn't even appear on the MP link. Yeah, that was 896k.
That was pretty much all you could ask for from Florida. Quite possibly going to be one of the best team scores on the weekend on that map. Now we've got the Hard Rock 2 lineup in Mikey, Vona, and Randius. We wait for Virginia's players to hop into the lobby. Looks like it's going to be Alex for now. As I mean, this one is more of an aim-focused precision map, slightly techy potentially.
It's a Lesgen map. I think that says a lot about everything you need to know about the map. Yeah,
it certainly does.
Yeah, so just 3.5 minutes of Lesja 220 BPM. The spacing on the burst does get a little bit big, especially with the CS 6.5, but shouldn't cause too many difficulties for these players. A little bit surprised to see Vona in for this one. This is actually one of the skill sets that I don't think he really liked in 5WC, the Hard Rock Precision, back when he was on his tear through the minor leagues. And this does really feel like a really solid pick for Virginia, especially looking at the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Alex the JPEG there, just ridiculous Hard Rock scores throughout the tournament, map after map. Faltering a little bit on the Hard Rock 1 earlier today, but Hard Rock 2 last week, the CS8 Precision, where he was the only, one of 3 FCs and the highest accuracy and overall score by quite a wide margin as well. So hopefully going to show off some more proficiency there. Joining him will be another Hard Rock specialist in Gray and Deppy to fill the rest of the mechanics out. Yeah, this does look like a really good pick for Virginia, just in theory.
Yeah, it certainly does. And that's a pretty good sign as Randy Orton and Mikey do miss on right at the start of that slower section. Bona, the only one, and again, down at 93% accuracy. Having a bit of a tougher time with this Hard Rock. I think, as you mentioned, not necessarily a Hard Rock player, probably just their strongest third player available. But they are going to start to recover this combo. It is a decently lengthy map. Mikey is going to find yet another miss, and Gray has done a really nice job of recovering such good accuracy on the side of Virginia. That's going to lead to a nearly 100,000 point lead. Gray does trade that miss back from Mikey, and so yes, it is going to be two big combos, but combo and accuracy advantage right now over to Virginia.
Yeah, unfortunately, Randy Orton, despite having the highest accuracy in the lobby, just slipping up on the combo earlier. Vona is matching the FCs, but of course the accuracy down there in the dumps, as we've seen time and again throughout this match. It's just going to be Alex and Deppy continuing their combos into the back half of this map. 97 accuracy on both of them. So looking really comfortable as this score lead will sit around just over 100k and continue to grow ever so slowly.
Yeah, Vona doing a really good job of recovering that accuracy back up to 96% now, is bringing this one significantly closer and preventing Virginia from taking too much of a lead, but Mikey M continues to find misses. They are, for the most part, being traded back by Gray, but every time Mikey finds that one extra miss over Gray, they are building up slight advantages. Is that a full reset for Virginia on that pattern? Randy and Vona both going to hold on, and now this score lead is going to flip. 30,000 points at the break, yes, but the players are going to see the scores. Virginia, they know they're in trouble. We've got 3 sad faces.
Brownies
And
and
so,
oh.
Mikey M with the sad face as well, but Randy and Vona are feeling good. Possibly a few nerves though. If they miss here, it is still only a few thousand points here, so if they find a miss into the end, they could send it back over to Virginia. They've got to be careful, but this is a pretty easy section for all of them. It's relatively free combo, and Florida quickly gaining a small advantage bit by bit, and 100,000 points now. This should be more than enough, and this is the momentum we were talking about. Florida looks like they're going to be finding yet another break point. Now they're down by 1. They've got the next pick, and they're going to be feeling so confident after winning 3 in a row.
Yeah, Vona and Equivocator with some really strong combos. 99 accuracy again for Equivocators. Vona will falter at the last step, but this is already 300,000 score. This map is long gone. Florida break point on what was supposed to be a really good pick for Virginia, but that's only in theory, and Alex unfortunately not able to execute again. And Florida just about ready to tie things up.
Yeah. The question is, what do you pick next? They've picked, again, most of the gimmicky maps. We're really at the point where, no tapping left, not really any gimmick left. We're going to have to see some more kind of standard picks. You look at that No Mod 2, that's kind of a flow aim pick. That could be interesting for Florida. I'm honestly not too sure which of these teams is favored on the more control-focused pick. And then I think there are a couple DTs still available.
Yes, there is the DT2. Yeah, 1 and 2. Just checking on those scores real quick. For Florida, they did play the DT1 earlier. Mikey M FCing that and having some really nice supporting scores for 2.7 million team score. So I can understand why Virginia have shied away from that pick. Definitely a lot of potential. Virginia actually losing the pick to NorCal by quite a wide margin, just under 2 million team score for them. So we could see that as a good pick for Florida, but no, it's going to be the DT2. And we did see them pick this earlier as well, and it looks like it was not picked in Virginia versus NorCal. Yeah. But Florida picking it earlier. FireGen having a really good pop-off score, 850k, with a couple really solid supporting scores as well from Fesco and Vona. So, gonna be looking for some replication there, replicability.
Yeah. Looks like we're just waiting for the players to get into the lobby here. Of course, this one pretty different from the tapping focus DTs we've had so far. Should be a good option for Florida.
Yep, of course, there are still the finger control elements to this map, but some funky shaped bursts that we did see claim some lives and combos throughout this entire weekend, really. I don't think there's a single FC on the map yet, in fact. That is, of course, partially due to the funky burst wiggle at the very end of the map, but other than that, just some really awkward snaps and spacing changes throughout, some really awkward burst shapes, and even some cuts to make this really difficult to FC and match. And that's before you even take into account the finger control difficulty, which I personally don't think is too bad. You know, you play it a few times, you sort of get a feel for how the rhythm goes, and then after that, it's just, you know, playing the map, but still got to aim the patterns, and that is where a lot of the difficulty comes in here. We do have the rosters in the lobby. It's going to be Deppy, Gray, and Pi. No Steve for this one, as Florida actually going to be swapping out Fesco for Randy Orton here. Equivocator coming in to accompany Vona and FireGen. Maybe hoping for something a little bit stronger. But this does look like quite a good tapping roster for Virginia. And I am a little bit surprised to see Florida pick the tapping here.
Yeah, maybe they feel like they just have a couple high scores on it, and I don't think Virginia can match. I mean, FireGen does find the early miss. The accuracies early on do suggest that Florida are a little bit more comfortable on this one than they have been on some of the previous maps, but we'll have to see once we get into a little bit of the heavier tapping section. Sidetrack Day is going to find one of the early misses for Virginia, and so that is going to give the lead back over to Florida for the time being. But here we go into some trickier bursts now. This is where there's potential for a lot more misses. Gray is going to be the next to miss. Sidetrack Day with a big chain miss there, taking a lot of accuracy, but quickly traded back by Randy Orton. That's going to be 1 SC to 1 as Vona is the next to go. FireGen up against Pi. Some of these players have put up some very good scores, but Pi finds the miss. That is not one you could afford. FireGen popped off on one of the previous rating picks, and now looking to do similar here. Halfway to the map, 90% accuracy and still holding strong. Question is, how far can FireGen push this lead?
Yeah, and just earlier today, FireGen was the man to take them over the line near FC on this map, and you know, you swap out one of the supporting players here, Fesco for Equivocator, looking at a pretty similar situation elsewhere in the lobby, and once again, it is on this man's shoulders to explode this lead, balloon it, and convert it into another map win. Still holding on into the slow section, but recoveries elsewhere. The job is not done yet. He still has to hold on, and of course, so the same goes for his teammates. They have to continue to match Virginia in order to keep them at arm's length away. You missed too early in this ending section, and everything can flip on its head, but here we go. It's Gray the first to miss. FireGen still holding on. He had around 900 combo, 990 combo last time he played this earlier. Can he match it all the way at 800 already?
Yeah, 900 combo would be all you need. Sidetrack Day, there goes everybody except FireGen. The key player holds on, and FireGen is dragging Florida across the finish line. Such a strong score, and they're going to have this one all tied up. We've not seen this since the very start of the match when it was 1-1 for a brief moment.
Yeah, there goes Pi dropping the recovery, but it was long gone before that happened. FireGen going into the ending of the map. Hold on, can he see it? Oh, no!
That ending pattern is brutal.
Wiggle.
Yeah, that claimed half the lobby.
Yeah. But yeah, with that, Florida will finally tie things up 5-5. It is a best of 3 now. 1 pick left for each team. 1 final pick to place your tournament life on the line with. Of course, if we do trade those back and forth, we will be going to yet another tiebreaker this morning.
But you still have to be careful as Virginia. If you give this one over, Florida have a big opportunity to just win it outright on their own pick. And given the last 2 picks haven't gone so well for them, the DT3 as well as the Hard Rock 2 going the way of Florida, I mean, where do you look in terms of the rest of the pool? I could go back to AIM. That Hard Rock one did work out well for them, and we've not really seen a lot of the other AIM maps. Of course, that No Mod 1 and that Hidden one, both still available if they do want to try something more AIM focused.
I think an element that we haven't really touched on so far is some of the skill cap differences here. I think, you know, Virginia extremely close on the Force Mod 1, which I do think is one of the easier maps in the pool, and the DT3 as well. All the players looking to have plenty of skill cap to play that map comfortably. The Hard Rock 2 as well, probably one of the easier maps in the pool to score very well on. And yeah, when you do have those lower skill cap maps, those easier maps, it is possible for a theoretically unfavored team to find a break point off of a couple unluckily timed misses. And I am happy to see Virginia pick this No Mod 2. Incredibly difficult, especially on the flow control here. This is quite a high skill cap map. Very hard to score well on. And I do think they will find themselves finally able to utilize their theoretical advantage on the tapping mechanics.
Yeah, certainly going to make for an exciting last pick for Virginia. Been big back and forth between these two teams all match long. Virginia taking the early lead, going up 4-1, and then Florida storming right back to eventually tie things up 5-5. Now we're playing a best of 3, one pick each, then a potential tiebreaker. And Virginia opting to close out this match with a No Mod 2 pick. We'll see if it pays off for them.
Yep, going to be looking at Sidetrack. Who other than Sidetrack Day to play
Of
the
course.
stream map, really? There should be no world where he is not in for this one. Looking at some scores for this, I don't think it was... Oh no, it was played earlier today. Mikey, I'm struggling quite a bit on this map. 92 accuracy and just not even 300k score, but FireGen more than making up for that one with almost an FC, 800,000, just under 900,000 to his name. On the other side for Virginia, checking their MP from yesterday against NorCal, does not look like it was played, but of course having the information on how Florida plays this should be enough for them to make their choice on whether to play this map or not. And it does look like we have a little bit of a surprise here. There's no Sidetrack Day in for the Sidetrack Day map. What is this?
No gray on this map either. Very interesting roster from Virginia, and immediately quite a few early misses, just missing the entirety of that first pattern. Maybe not quite ready to start, and so it would be a nice early advantage for Florida. This map is only 2 minutes in length, so those could make somewhat of a difference here, but you do expect both Alex and Danny to find pretty good recovery combos, and looks like they are going to be doing just that, as we are getting into some of the trickier streams, but everybody holding strong. FireGen going to be the first big miss for Florida, and that score lead should flip back over pretty quickly, given the good recoveries from Virginia.
Yeah, and you know, with this map being very flow and even control based, just seeing from some of those stream shapes already, it does make a little bit sense to take Gray out of this. If not all tapping players are as comfortable on the flowing as they are on just the raw tapping. But here we go into a build-up section, into the as we close in on that back half of the map where we will see the bulk of the crazy patterning. And yeah, just a few more seconds as you get ready. Dancor Danny is still a pretty good tapping player in his own right, more than capable of playing this BPM as are Pi and Alex. But here we go into the last section of the map. Please, iFlame, take it away.
Yeah, we start to see a lot more spacing on those streams. We see some big spacing changes, some sharp cuts. FireGen is going to find the miss. Pi trades it back with a huge chain miss. Vona and Danny are going to be the next to fall. Now it's Alex versus Mikey, but it's a full reset for Virginia. That pattern claims Mikey as well. There's no combo left, and it is 10,000 points plus. This is anybody's game. It's going to be down to these chain misses, to these big accuracy drops. Pi and FireGen both on the best recoveries right now. Vona not too far behind. Florida find themselves with a 60,000 point lead in building. Mickey with a chain miss is going to send that back towards Virginia, but is the combo enough? Virginia, it's going to be close. It's going to require a chain miss from FireGen or Vona. Vona finds it, but Alex trades it back in Florida. They're going to get the point, and they are going to win their 5th point in a row to find themselves on match point.
Wow. Just wow. And Virginia once up 4-1, even up 5-1. And it looked like they had shaken off the curse of the 4-1 curse, but in a twist of events, it's Florida to find the break points. It's Florida to find the consolidations. And it's Florida to reach match point first.
Yeah, this is a huge opportunity for Florida. Danny seems like a low roll on that one. You know, that feels bad as well. But Florida, they're wasting no time with their next pick. They had this one locked and loaded. We're going to be getting the hidden one aim-focused map. And this is not a skill set we've seen all that much of so far in this match. I mean, we did have the hard rock one, which was the closest thing, but it's going to be a pretty lengthy consistency test, 3 minutes and 57 seconds, and you know, at 230 ppm, it is going to be slightly faster as well than a lot of the ones that you see.
Yep. Notably, Florida not playing this map in their previous match against Indiana, but Virginia playing this against NorCal and losing just a triple 600k or so on all their players, 1.8 million team score, and struggling to get past a bit of a choke point in the map around 1100 combo is where a lot of them faltered. And yeah, it's going to be tricky for them to break that 2 million team score mark. Meanwhile, for Florida, I do like their chances. Of course, Vona should be in for this one, I'm thinking. And then you do still have some pretty good aimers, looking at Crucator and FireGen as well, mainly for some pop-offs. On the other side for Virginia, Alex the JPEG, probably one of your best choices for it. He did set the highest score on their team yesterday, being accompanied by Dan Cordani and Pi is the best. Dan Cordani stepping in place of Deppy, who did set the lowest combo on their team when they played it last, just 800, although 800 is still quite a lot normally speaking, but when the rest of the combos in the lobby are above 1,000, it's kind of tough to make the argument for you to go back in. And actually, we will see Dan Cordani step out. It will be Deppy instead, so excuse me on that one.
Yeah, we should be getting into this map any moment now, potentially the last moment of this match. Virginia desperate to get that 1 point that they need to get themselves on match point, at least make it to the tiebreaker. After having such a big advantage early on, you would like to see at least that for them, but this is the Florida pick, so they're gonna expect they're gonna have a slight edge, but on these later stage picks, all the advantage kind of goes out the window. Most picks are going to be extremely coin flipped, and so this one is going to be anybody's game, as here we go into Hidden One.
Yeah, and I do want to remind you, or remind everyone, is especially since you weren't here at the start of the broadcast, both of these teams, this is the furthest that they will make it should they win. Neither team has ever been to the finals stage of the United States Cup. Neither state, Florida, capping out at 9th through 12th. This is already the furthest they've made it, never winning their first semifinals matchup. Virginia, likewise, capping out at 7th to 8th, never winning their second semifinals matchup, despite winning the first a couple times these past couple years. So, a lot on the line for both of these teams as they try to make their best appearance yet in this tournament. It's going to be a couple early breaks from both Deppy and Equivocator to start us off here.
Yeah, just going to be trading those misses back and forth. Going to keep things relatively even early on. And combos are starting to get bigger, so next miss is going to have be very impactful towards the outcome of this match. The next one is going to be Alex the JPEG. Florida now have a really big opportunity to close this one out. Yes, Randy does trade, but had significantly lower combos, so now it's going to be sidetrack today, chasing down one of these FCs on the side of Florida. Now, this is a longer map, so the score lead won't increase that quickly, but this is now a bit of a free combo section for Florida to continue to build up this advantage, and if they can hold on until the next KI, they're going to be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, of course, that is with the condition that they have to hold on and preferably combo through the next Ki, as A lot of combo breaks on this map. We've seen around the 1100 combo mark. Of course, they do still have to hold for another 300 combo into the break in the soul section. There is going to be Randy Orton dropping his recovery, but of course not a particularly significant one. Gonna be traded out by Sidetrack Day, and that one is a little bit more significant. It's going to hurt Virginia's chances of pulling this back, as now it really is 2 FCs to 1. FireGen and Vona on the 900 up against Pi is the best. And Alex the JPEG, previously the strongest scorer on the map for Virginia, but finding another miss in this second Ki, and even more misses on the square pattern. It really is just down to Pi is the best, and he needs to hold on, and he needs Florida to break soon.
Yeah, Virginia are still in this match as long as Pi is the best goals, but 200,000 points is a lot to make up. There's only about 400,000 possible score left for Pi to gain, and you need Vona or FireGen to break. As you mentioned, even Randy is now on the recovery. Here we go, though, into another tricky section. Nobody having too much trouble with any of these sliders. Nobody getting caught out by these flow patterns except for Sidetrack Day on the side of Virginia. Plus, after such a good start, this is looking like it could be the end for Virginia. There's only a quarter of the map to go and 370,000 points. I knew it would take a complete collapse. There goes Pi. That's going to seal it. And Florida, for the first time ever, will find themselves in the finals.
They certainly will. And after what looked like such a good start from Virginia, 5-1, they will be hearing their eulogy, their epitaph play in the background. GG's already on the screen from Debbie and Alex's. They saw the screen. They saw the scoreboard at the break. They know what is awaiting them in just around 30 seconds time. FireGen will drop his combo into the ending, but Vona, the captain, ever so strong, holding on to the FC. Vona will be the one to deliver the final nail in the coffin to Virginia, sending them home and pulling Florida into the finals of the 5-digit United States Cup for the first time ever.
Yeah, such a big moment for Florida. Such a hard-fought match for both teams, really. Of course, commiserations to Virginia, who have had a very good run this tournament. I think dropping down to the losers bracket relatively early on, losing 5-3 against Ohio in that first round, and since then they have been running the gauntlet. 6-1, 6-3, a 6-0 sweep against Arizona, and then of course beating that 4 seed in NorCal. But unfortunately for them, the gauntlet will end here as Florida, they're going to move on to play the loser of SoCal and New Jersey.
Yep, of course, congratulations to Florida for a historical performance. Vona 8 Sandwich, FireGen, 09 Randy Orton, also known as Quiffcator, Mikey M, Fesco, and Por4, who was unfortunately not able to make it to the match today, but fortunately for him, his team was able to pull through without him, as Florida looked to make an even stronger performance with the hopeful return of their teammate next weekend. Of course, commiserations to Virginia, as they still do match their best performance yet in that 7th to 8th slot, but we will be saying goodbye to them for the rest of this year's 5USC. Of course, thank you so much for joining me, iFlame. It has been a delight to cast with you. We finally had our first cast a couple nights ago in USC early this week, on Thursday night, I believe it was, and glad to have you join me down in the rank restricted range as well.
Much appreciated. We do have another match later today, I believe, for those of you in North America. At least it's going to be Georgia versus Michigan, 1 UTC, but that will be it for us for the time being. I've been iFlame, joined by Bless, and thank you to Twisty for the stream. Last but not least, thank you guys all so much for watching. We'll see you back here at 1 UTC for Georgia versus Michigan.
See you guys next time.